So the reason that Love works so well for me is because Katie and I have very similar voices. What she's doing, the one thing Katie does that I don't do so well is beauty. Like I think she said it to me at one point when we were working together at Pop. She's like, she wants something to be beautiful or she wants it to be funny. Was kind of a lot of and I think sex goes in there with her, but really she does like she and Matt and Marcus just do these beautiful, beautiful images, and it's just about the beauty of the picture. And Love and Pop before that, when Katie was there, it works so well for me because that's really similar to my voice. And she does a powerful woman, she does a sexy woman, she does a sense of humor. So because we have these similar things, it's really easy for me to work with her because we have very similar voices. So I urge you guys, when you're starting to look at what magazines you want to work with, I mean, there's the aspirational guys, right, where you know what your voice is based on who you love. And then there's like, okay, when you start out, I mean, when I started out, I was really lucky. I wasn't lucky because I freaking earned it, excuse my language. When I went to Pop, because I was in the environment that I wanted to be in. And I was really strategic about it, and I got paid nothing, and I was reading ramen noodles, and I made it work because I knew I was where I needed to be to learn what I needed to learn. But I know sometimes, and then when I came back to New York, I mean, I was still working for Love, but it's biannual. I couldn't build my book on 2 stories a year. So I had to start working for other magazines. And I started looking at, okay, who has a little bit of what I do? And you can't always choose in the beginning. You're just like freaking hitting the pavement trying to find which magazines will let you shoot for them. And that's always like a really fun practice. But you have to start to find those people and then stalk them in the nicest of ways that do have your voice, those editors that do get what you, like who do similar things to what you want to do and get what you want to do, and who are going to support you. And I was working with an Italian magazine when I first moved back here, and it was good practice because the Italian voice is very specific. I like working for Italians because they love sexiness, and that's one thing I love to do, and they love a powerful woman. So they didn't get the sense of humor thing that much. I mean, this magazine in particular, not Italians. I mean, like, I've worked with, like, Lucia Prada is one of the funniest people I think I've ever read interviews with, and she's amazing. And Donatella's hilarious, too. I worked with her for years. But, like, this specific fashion director, didn't get the sense of humor part. And so everything I did with a sense of humor got cut. Like, everything. And I was like, okay, it's, like, fine. But what I was able to do is, like, learn how to build my book and shoot with photographers. It was great practice. I mean, right now, almost all of my book is Love, because it's just what I do. It's what people book me for. They book me for that voice. But it was so great to do the other magazines, to collaborate with different kind of fashion directors, to start to practice and learn it. And I got to work with a whole bunch of other fashion photographers I didn't have the opportunity to work with for Love, that ended up bringing a lot of revenue. So it's important to find those magazines. You can't always take your pick and choose. You can't always pick and choose in the beginning, but you'll slowly start to build up a book where you can get the magazines you want. Yeah?
If you're working with somebody and you have your vision and they have theirs, and how do you tell if they're like a bigger name and you're just starting out? How would you tell them then?
With the voice, I've had to deal with that a lot, because I've been in this situation far too many times from my own comfortability to where I am the baby. Like, I am the one who's been doing this for like so much less time than like these iconic fashion people. And I would get really freaked out. I would be like, oh my God, how do I tell Patrick DeMarchelier what I think? Like, freaking out. But it's like a Teen Vogue cover, so it's like, figure it out, Like, okay, Amy Astley, like, is trusting me to be here, and and I was dealing with Miley Cyrus, who's amazing, but it's a celebrity. So I'm like, oh, okay, gotta take care of her and her publicist and her boyfriend, who was also in the shoot, and Patrick, and the creative director from Teen Vogue. And I was the baby. Everybody else there except for Miley, had been doing this forever. And the hair and makeup were iconic hair and makeup people, iconic. So, and they did this hair, and I was like, it was kind of having one of those like, oh my God, I hate the hair. And I'm sitting there like, what do I do? And I just ended up talking to Patrick, and I told him, they want us to collaborate, which is what's so amazing about it. And the minute I was like able to kind of talk to him in spite of my fear of like sounding like a moron, you know, because that's my thing, is like, oh, he's not gonna like my ideas and it's gonna be horrible. And I just was like, Patrick, but he wanted to know, he wants my direction. Like that, he trusts Amy and he trusts Teen Vogue to have me there, and so he's like, okay, you know, what do you think? And when I sat down, when I went to the shoot, I sat down with him, and when we first got there, and I said, oh, this is what I want to do. You know, she's like, she's cool, she's chic, she's a little bit French, but she's not like a beret French. And I started going through I showed him the looks that I'd already done, and he was like, oh, great. He's like, this is amazing, I love it. I mean, usually that's what they say. You know, and sometimes when you're working, it's interesting to me, because sometimes when I'm working on a younger photographer, they have way more opinions. And they are opinions. They are not assessments all the time. Some of them are assessments. Some of them are smart. Like every once in a while you run into somebody who really knows what they're doing. They're young and they know what they're doing. But there have been those moments where I'm like, oh my God, you're a young photographer. You don't know what you're talking about. And you know, and that's when I'm kind of like, look, this is what we need to do. And usually I have to put a little threat in there, like the magazine will kill it, and because I know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm not just being nasty, or like because I hate someone's idea or something. I'm like, look, well, you know, let's get this picture first, and then we can try that. But I really know that that's not what the editor's looking for. And so, to answer your question, like in the beginning, you just have to talk in spite of your fear. You know, and that's why speaking is so important with what we do. Even though our end result is so visual, you have to be able to communicate. And it took me a long time to get that confidence together, because I was working around these iconic people, and I'm just like, it's like, how do you tell, you know, Odile, who's this incredible hairdresser, how do you tell Odile that you want to do this? You know, I walked in on this shoot with her, and I was collaborating. It was a beauty story, so it was about her. And I walked in with this huge bunch of flowers from the market that I'd gotten in Paris, and she was like, oh, why are you bringing those weeds in here? And I was kind of like, it's like, well, I thought we could put them in the hair. And like, despite the fact that she was totally ripping me down, I was like, well, I thought they'd look really good, like if we did, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And it ended up being the major picture that ran, was the one with all the crazy flowers from the market. But I had to, in spite of the fact that, and Odile's amazing. Like she wasn't trying to like power play or cut me down or anything like that. But she, you know, I had to like say, and you know, even though I was kind of like being made fun of or whatever, that she didn't believe in the idea. She wasn't making fun of me. She didn't really see it, and so I had to kind of show her. Anyway, and you know, like a couple of years before that, I wouldn't have been able to do it.